So finally, I decided to make this video. I've been putting this video on hold for the longest time kasi I don't know kung may manonood, but hopefully someone would watch this and maybe learn something from my experience. And so in today's video, I will tell you guys on how I got into the data science industry without a computer science degree. And also sorry it took a while since the last time I made a video because I really got busy on a lot of things in life. And so yeah, here I am right now and giving you a new video. Before we start, my name is Oshin, and in my channel I talk a lot about personal finance, some tech that can help you, lifestyle hacks and whatnots. So I will be dividing this video into 4 topics. So the first one is that I will give you a rundown of my career. And the second one is how I got into the data science industry or the tech industry. And the third topic would be is we will answer the question is it a high paying job? I'm pretty sure this is one question that you're very much interested to know. And the last one would be is that if you're someone who also want to shift to tech industry or work for the data science company, I will give you some tips on how you can start. So just to give you first a rundown of my career, I graduated from college in 2011 and I graduated with a degree of Bachelor of Science in Human Ecology, major in Human Settlements Planning. Quite a mouthful, isn't it? So it's basically a social environmental course. It's very far from information technology, very far from ComSci. So yeah, I went outside the world without knowing anything about programming, without knowing anything about coding, data science and stuff like that. And it was in 2011 and data science wasn't still that much of a thing during that time. So after graduating from college, I did not have a stable job for 7 months. I did some part-time teaching. I did, some small stuff so that I could earn some money and spend them unwisely. On November of 2011, that's where I first got my full-time job. So I worked as an urban planner for a government agency in Metro Manila. And I stayed there and I was a planning officer and an urban planner for 4.5 years. And so I resigned in 2016 and decided to come back here to my hometown in Laguna so that I could work for an international research organization. So you might ask, what was I doing in the government? So as an urban planner, I made a lot of research and policy vetting, anything related to urban planning, anything related to urban development, yes, stuff like that. So it was a fun time, but at the same time, the reason why I left the government is because I won't be able to fix myself and a lot of my problems during that time if I'll still work in the government. So I went home back to my hometown and was able to land a job. So I stayed in the International Research Organization for almost 9 months, and after that, I did not resign. It so happened that my contract ended. It had to end prematurely. Then after that, I also had a very short stint on teaching for a private university as an instructor wherein I taught land use planning, climate change, stuff like that, and even GIS or Geographic Information System. And so after teaching in the academy, I transferred or I worked for a non-profit organization that's based in Quezon City in Manila. My role was a Geographic Information Science Officer. So basically, I analyze maps, I make maps for the non-profits advocacy and activities. It was actually a fun job because I get to interact with a lot of people. I traveled to almost all of the, not really all, but most of the remote areas in the Philippines and then help the communities map their areas and capacitate them on what they can do with their maps or how maps can help them solve their problems. In 2019, I resigned from the non-profit organization, and that's where I transferred to a data science company that's also based here in the Philippines. My current role there is a Geospatial Analyst, and so yeah, that's where it all started, I guess. So with all of this, how was I able to get the job? So in 2019, when I applied for the job, I came into the data science company or to the data science industry without knowing how to code, without knowing Python, without knowing how to do SQL, with nothing. The only thing that I know during that time was that I know how to make maps, I know how to read maps, and I know how to use them and how to communicate them to our clients, to stakeholders. I think that's one of my biggest assets when I applied in my current company. Before ako nag-apply, I actually studied for a bit, like, basic SQL, basic Python, but those weren't enough for me to survive on the job. Like the first 6 months when I was working here already, is that it was quite difficult for me because I was a career shifter, and learning how to code is just part of the formula already. And yeah, so I just learned along the way, and I learned how to do Python, I learned how to do SQL, I learned this cool stuff on what are data warehouses, what are the data visualization tools available out there that can help you visualize, stuff that you want to visualize. Well, the next question would be that is it a high-paying job? So the short answer here is that yes, it's a high-paying job. So according to Business World, anything that is IT related or computer science related, the top 2 highest earning jobs here in the Philippines with a supervisory role is from the information technology sector. And any jobs related to information technology has always been one of the highest paying jobs, not just in the country or in the Philippines, but in the whole wide world. So if you check out Glassdoor, if you check out other websites that could give you information on the salary of tech companies, they're very, very, very large, and they have a very big gap compared to other industries. There's always a demand for technology, and every day we encounter problems that can easily be solved by technology. It's a very compelling reason for you to shift to tech. And from someone who came from the development sector, I can say that I'm pretty much satisfied not just with my salary, but the total compensation and benefits that I am getting right now when I'm working in tech. Also, if you're from the Philippines and you become highly proficient with working in tech, and most likely then you will be in demand when you go abroad, and it's a lot easier for you to be able to apply for tech-related jobs outside of the country, and it means a higher salary for you as well. So for the last part, we're going to talk about if you're someone who also wants to shift to data science or the tech industry, what are the things that you need to know, and here are some of the tips that I can give you. Just take note lang guys that my data science journey might definitely be different from your data science journey or your tech journey. It doesn't mean na kung ano yung ginawa ko, you should also replicate that. To be honest, and in fact, it took me almost 8 years or 9 years before I shifted to tech, wherein maybe I could have done it earlier. Sometimes we don't have the opportunity, and in my case, nagkaroon lang ako ng opportunity to grab it, so I grabbed it. But if you're someone like me who wants to do a career shift to tech industry, definitely you really need to start somewhere, and sometimes we do not need to wait for that opportunity to happen. Every day is always an opportunity, even the smallest one. The first opportunity that you can make for yourself is definitely learn how to code. The programming language that I would recommend would be, of course, Python. So it's currently still the number 1 programming language in this industry, and also SQL, one of the oldest programming languages in the world, but still very widely used right now because it's needed for relational databases. At some extent, you might need to want to learn how to do R, but in my opinion, I would recommend for you to study Python first and SQL before going to R. Another thing also that you might want to familiarize with is the use of cloud platforms. Medyo hindi uso sa data science na kung gusto nyo magpasahan ng data ay gumamit kayo ng USB device or use a hard drive to transfer from one computer to another. So no, sometimes in data science you deal with big data, and sometimes imagine having a very big Excel file that's about 2 gigabytes, 3 gigabytes. The top 3 cloud platforms that I know right now are, number 1, it's AWS, so Amazon Web Services. Number 2 would be GCP or the Google Cloud Platform, and the third one is Microsoft Azure. Personally, if you would ask me, my favorite among these 3 is Google Cloud Platform. Not just because it's the first cloud platform that I encountered, but it's very useful for me, and since a lot of my workflows are on Google, so it doesn't make sense to use another platform or other platforms aside from Google. By the way, this is not sponsored. Moving on, I also recommend for you to study at least one business intelligence tool or one data visualization tool. The famous ones right now are Tableau and Power BI, and I personally use Tableau. I don't use Power BI that much. And what I like about Tableau is that it's easy to use, it's very fun to use. You can do a lot of interactive visualizations using Tableau, but the disadvantage is that if you want to buy it for yourself or for your organization, it's a bit pricey. There's a public version of that wherein you can publish your own works for free, but it has to be public. public. So if you want to learn machine learning naman guys, personally, ako lang naman to. Pag may nagsabi sa inyo na if you want to learn ML, you don't need to know statistics, you don't need to know math, you don't need too much of that. No, guys, that's the biggest lie that I've ever heard when I entered this industry. I still definitely believe that you need a good solid foundation of statistics, math, and algorithms so that you would be able to understand, you know, things when you're working on machine learning models. So yeah, nako talaga, pag naalala ko yung mga nagsasabi nun. Definitely make a portfolio. That's another advice that I can give you. So some people are trying to learn and publish their works on GitHub or a website, and learning is definitely not overnight. You really have to allot time and schedule yourself on learning new things. Hindi siya overnight, guys. Ako, I learned the things that I've learned so far right now. It's not overnight. It's an accumulation of years of hard work, learning experience, growth mindset, and a lot of imposter syndrome. Yeah, that's one thing that I definitely recommend for you guys, is to have a portfolio so that, you know, when you apply somewhere, you would be able to showcase what you can do to your future employer. And probably the last parting thought is that you guys should be a good problem solver. So learn that skill. You don't have to be a good problem solver right now. It's a skill that you can learn along the way when you're trying to learn tech. Find something or find a domain expertise or find a domain knowledge where you can contribute technology or data science so that you would be able to help solving problems on that domain, whether it could be in healthcare, transportation, energy, poverty. There are so many things out there in the world that needs our help, and that, you know, tech can help it definitely, so that we would be able to make this world a better place. And you know what, who knows, you might be the next Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, right? Alright, with that guys, thank you very much for watching, and if you find value on this video, please do not forget to smash that like button guys, and also subscribe to my channel and click the bell button beside it so that you'll be notified whenever I have a new video. Alright? And also comment down below your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section if you're a career shifter or an ongoing career shifter. I would like to meet you, and thank you talaga, thank you for almost 3,000 subscribers. Maraming salamat, and see you around and see you on my next video. Goodbye!